Have you ever seen a city with tall, fancy, eco-friendly buildings rising from the sea? I mean, just imagine walking there and finding it quiet with beautiful and big buildings, but empty and silent. That kind of city is what we want to discuss. It's called a ghost town. People who initially thought it would be a great place now say it's bad for nature. In this eye-opening video, I'll reveal everything that you will need to know about the forest city in Malaysia. So, without further ado, let's delve right into this eco-friendly city with just a few people in it. Are you ready? Let's delve in. Forest City is a big neighborhood with houses and shops in Iskandar Puteri, Johor, Malaysia. It's in the southwest part of Johor Bahru district, which is the second biggest district in Malaysia with lots of people. They started talking about it in 2006 and said it would take 20 years to build. Mostly, it's being paid for by a group of Chinese real estate companies as part of the Belt and Road Initiative. The famous fake islands used for building the forest city are between Malaysia and Singapore. You might be asking, what's so special about them? They were made to attract over 500,000 people to live there. Even though it's a vast and ambitious project, hardly anyone wants to live there. The city still looks like a ghost town. It's shocking to see that almost nobody lives there. Only about 9,000 people are living there. Why is that? Who wouldn't want to live in a modern, eco-friendly city near Singapore and the beautiful seaside? Well, we will talk about this and more as we continue. The forest city didn't just pop up one day. Its story goes way back, full of dreams and hopes for the future. Let's go back and see how it all started. Before they even built anything, Forest City was just an excellent idea. The folks behind it from China and Malaysia had a big dream. They wanted to make a super modern and environmentally friendly city right by the sea. They wanted to build not just any city, but a super cool one on 4 islands near Singapore. The plan? To have 700,000 people live there, all surrounded by nature. Imagine tall buildings, parks, houses by the water, and intelligent gadgets. Forest City's creation caused a lot of arguments. It wasn't meant for people from Malaysia, but instead for rich folks from China who wanted to put their money in other countries. They offered homes by the sea that weren't as expensive as ones in big Chinese cities like Shanghai. But then sales dropped because China's leader, Xi Jinping, made rules about how much money people could spend outside the country. What made Forest City special was its love for nature. They wanted to bring nature into the city in every way possible. They planned to have gardens on walls and roofs, making nature a big part of the city, and they wanted innovative technology to help with everything, like traffic and saving energy. But like with any big idea, there were problems. How do you build a city on land you made? How do you ensure the city works well and people like living there? These were big questions as Forest City was being built. It was a huge deal when they had a big ceremony to start building. Lots of machines and workers showed up to turn the plans into actual buildings. As the machines got to work, Forest City slowly started to look like what they planned. The project was massive. 4 islands were created with houses, shops, and parks spread out. They planned it all carefully to ensure enough space for people and nature. But let's be honest, making a city from nothing is hard. Forest City had many problems to deal with. Making land from the sea was a tremendous job. People worried about how it would affect nature and the local area. It was also tricky to organize all the materials and workers just right. Making a dream city costs a lot of money. Forest City's budget was $100 billion, making it one of the most expensive projects ever. They spent all that money to create not just buildings, but a whole system that can take care of itself. While Forest City was being built, it encountered many problems. Buildings started to have issues like cracks. This made people worry that the construction was rushed and that the land didn't have enough time to settle properly. Changes in Malaysia's government also made things harder. The new leader didn't like the project's connection to China, so he changed some rules. This made people unsure about buying property there, and it slowed down the project. Things got tricky when it came to money, too. Forest City started when Malaysia and China were good economic friends. But things changed and the project felt the pressure. Then, the COVID-19 pandemic made things even worse. People couldn't travel and everyone was worried about money. Before, many people wanted to buy property there and investors were keen. But then, everything slowed down. Construction and sales took a hit. Forest City is a mix of good things and things that didn't go as planned. Even though they built Forest City, it's not exactly what they hoped for. They wanted it to be a busy, lively place. But now, there are many empty apartments, and the streets are quiet. It's not what they dreamed of at first. The people who designed Forest City wanted to change how cities are made. They wanted tall buildings to mix with lots of nature, and they hoped it would be a city where everything helps nature stay balanced. Picture stepping out of your tall apartment and into a sky garden. That's what Forest City is like. They ensured lots of greenery was everywhere, like gardens on the roofs and walls. They wanted nature to be a big part of everyday life in the city. This wasn't just for looks though. It also helps keep the air clean and makes the city cooler. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe and like buttons for more great videos. Forest City is also super bright. Right from the start, they planned to use advanced technology in everything. They wanted transportation to be modern and good for the environment. Instead of everyone driving cars, they wanted people to use greener ways to get around. They had big energy plans for Forest City. They wanted to use smart grids to share energy efficiently, put sensors in buildings to control lights and temperature, and use lots of solar panels to make energy from the sun, helping the city use more renewable energy. They also had innovative ideas for dealing with trash and saving water. They wanted to use decorative systems to recycle and manage water carefully. Forest City wanted to sell ornate homes to wealthy people worldwide. They especially wanted to attract investors from China because they had a lot of money. They thought this was a good idea because Chinese people were interested in buying property abroad. Forest City wanted to be a superior place with expensive apartments and cool stuff. They wanted rich people to live there. But this caused problems. The apartments were too expensive for most people in Malaysia, so even though the apartments were lovely, few locals could buy them. This meant a lot of apartments stayed empty. There were other problems too. People started worrying about the safety and quality of the buildings. They heard about issues with the structure of some buildings, which made them wonder if the buildings were built safely. People started worrying about problems with the building's foundations and structure. The buildings were put up quickly as part of a big project. One big problem was that cracks started appearing in the buildings and roads not long after they were built. This made people wonder if the land they built on wasn't stable enough because it hadn't settled properly. They were afraid the land might keep sinking, which could cause more problems in the future. Nowadays, Forest City isn't what people hoped for. The tall buildings meant for fancy living are mostly empty. The fantastic buildings and cool stuff that should have been full of people are quiet and not being used much. It's different from what they first promised. A lively and bustling city. The real estate market in Forest City is pretty shocking. Most of the beautiful homes they built are still empty, so it looks like a place where nobody lives, a big city with no people. This has made it hard for the project to make money and has added to its reputation as a ghost town. So that's the story of Forest City. It started as an excellent idea, but ended up as a place with lots of problems. It shows us that even though new ideas are exciting, they must be practical. We're interested in what you think about Forest City. Do you think things could have been done differently to make it better? What lessons can we learn from this big project? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us share more stories like this with you. Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious. Take care and see you in the next video.